Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We're on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us on iTunes right now, go ahead and leave a 5-star review. Quick shout out to one of our new sponsors. We all know dating apps are terrible. They're superficial. They're these face swiping apps. And then there are these quote unquote expert matching apps. Both usually waste your time. The solution is values-based matching. If you're conservative, things probably won't work out with someone who is a total lefty. Same with religion, lifestyle, how to raise your kids, and other core values. Sure, somebody might change to meet where you are, but why not just find the perfect match from the start? Drom is a free new values-based dating app. You pick the deal breakers and the deal makers. There are no experts and no match percentages, and you don't have to addictively check the app. As soon as somebody matches your deal breakers and deal makers and you match theirs, you can get a notification. If you don't find a deal breaker or deal maker that's important to you, you can add your own anonymously. Drom is also video only for more human interaction. Go to Drom.Date/CMP in your phone's browser. Click the iOS or Google button to install and use the invite code CMP to sign up. If you're already matched up, if you already found the love of your life, good for you. Maybe you could tell some of your sad single friends and get your partner to tell their friends. That's Drom.Date/CMP, designed to meet your perfect match. It's free to use. And of course, cushydreams.com, my go-to for all things CBD related. Join the men and women who are sick of vapes and gummies and want to smoke their CBD. There's different indica sativa blends like Create, Energy, Hustle, Relax. So whatever you want to do with your day, if you want to be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more up, Cushy Dreams has all types of different strains for that. It's grown here in the U.S., and you can save 20% by going to cushydreams.com, Kushy dreams.com, and use promo code CMP at checkout to get 20% off. Hi all, we're waiting for our esteemed guest to arrive, but I wanted to shout out a couple of dates. Yeah, I'm going to be in Lakewood, New Jersey with Comedians of the Compound. October 16th, we'll be at the Blue Claws Stadium with the rest of the boys. And then I will be headlining in Morris Plains, New Jersey, November 6th at Tiff's Ale House, or Tiff's, the Dojo of Comedy, we call it. Woo! It's fun, guys. I've had quite a week. We were in Vegas with Comedians of the Compound. That was pretty insane. It was pretty fun. I met a lot of fans. It was great to meet everybody. Okay, cool. He's on his way. It was a blast. It was a blast. I hadn't been to Vegas. Well, actually, I was just there in June with some Blaze people. But it's always good to go to Vegas. It's always good to go there for like 3 or 4 days. And then you're like, I've had enough. Help. I need a detox. But it's great. We rented a little cabana. We stayed at the Plaza Hotel, which is, I hate to call it like not one of the nice hotels. It's it's nice. There's a roof on it. I'm happy. That's all I need to be happy. And it's down by like Fremont Street. So there's like the cool part of the strip where like the newer hotels are, like Cosmo and Aria and Vidara. And then there's like the classic part of the strip, which is still pretty expensive and nice, which is like Caesars, Bellagio. And then there's where we were, which is way down, still technically part of the strip, but down by Fremont Street at the Plaza. Also near Circa, which is a brand new hotel that they just opened this year. And we went in there for a little bit to do like a little. No, was I gambling? No, I gambled one of the nights with Anthony Cumia. It was really fun. I was good. I think I'm a good. Oh, I gotta send him another link. Okay, I gotta send this to him. Boy, oh boy. Let's see. I sent it to you. Okay, I'm gonna resend this to him. Yeah, Vegas was so fun. All right, sorry guys, bear with me. I have to resend Gavin the link. He missed it somehow. right, sorry guys. Oh lordy. Okay, and then I went to Dallas. I was in Dallas last in May, and then before that, I was there in February. So the last time I did stand up there was February. It was during the blackout / snowstorm. It was really wild. I thought for sure those dates were going to be canceled, but Texas came out. They did not give a fuck. And I always love talking to the people of Texas about how they deal with snow, because they don't deal with snow. There's no plows. There's no shovels. Okay. Wow. I have to send this to a different email. Great, guys. Let's try this again. I was sending it to the wrong email. Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna send this again. Okay, sorry. I am retarded. Clark County is ran by spineless shills. That's what. Yeah, Vegas was more masky than I expected, and I'm out there like at least once a year it seems, and it was a bit more than I expected. So I don't know. I just think people are scared, and it's great because you go into the casinos and a lot of the dealers and the strippers and the prostitutes and everybody's wearing the sheer masks, which I really enjoy too. Oh, good. Our esteemed guest is here. So thrilled to have him on the program again. We're celebrating episode number 300, by the way. This is kind of a big deal. And he was on episode 200 and I believe 100. He is the host of Get Off My Lawn on Censored TV. Gavin.
Hi, Chrissy. How you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm in kind of a bad mood.
Oh, no. What's wrong?
That's just the normal way men are. Sometimes they're in a good mood. Sometimes they're in a bad mood. They don't have to have. It's not like a car has to drive by and splash them.
It's just normal.
It's normal. I'm just pissed off.
I hope it's not at me.
No.
Okay. At the world.
Have you been waiting for me this whole time?
Yes, but I've been stretching. I got my ad reads out of the way. I'm talking to the people in the chat.
And were you sending the link to this email address?
I was sending it to your other email address.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what happened.
Classic broads.
It was so great to see you in Vegas. That was so neat. What did you think of the shows?
Oh, they were great. I was really impressed that Anthony can do stand-up. Ghetto Snakes, that was fucking hilarious.
He has really come along. He was pretty timid, and it's been really interesting to watch his whole journey. Obviously, he's a beast. He is one of the best at radio ever to live, and he always had the chops. He was always funny, but I think he just needed to know he needed the confidence, and that just comes through doing it.
I guess. I think stand-up is one of the easiest jobs in the world, and people who suck at it just aren't funny. But you could just take a funny person, pull them out of the local pub in rural Scotland, put them on the stage, and they destroy, Bert Kreischer.
You don't like Bert?
Just been busting his ass. He doesn't have the sprinkles. Some people have the sprinkles, some don't. And he's a great guy, and he's a hard worker, but it's like professional sports. Like Jacob deGrom didn't learn pitching by being a hard worker. The whole you gotta fucking hone your craft, all that dumb shit when they talk like they're carpenters. Fuck off. It's just funny or not funny, innately talented or not. It's not about the hours you put in. No.
Every time I hear somebody say hone their craft, I imagine somebody just whittling in a room, just whittling away, which doesn't sound fun to me. I agree. It
also implies that it's this learned skill. No, stop it. I hate that. They talk about hacking creativity. I worked with Red Bull for a while and when I had an ad agency, and they were obsessed with hacking creativity.
I even hate the way that sounds.
You can't do that. It's not a thing you can learn. I'm sorry.
You either got it or you don't.
It's very simple. I'm going to try to fix this computer. Okay, that's more.
Oh, looks good. We got a question for you, Gavin. Ask from Mr. P. Ask Gavin why he won't do Chipperson's show. What the fuck? I didn't know he was asking you to do
He's
it.
never asked me. I hate Chipperson. I don't get the joke at all. I don't get a lot of those guys, like Andrew Dice Clay. I don't get it. It's just another Jew acting like a tough Italian, like Henry Winkler, like Joey Ramone, like Bowser from Sha Na Na. I don't know. I think Brooklyn Jews were jealous of the testosterone of Italians. So they'd be like, hey, I'm a tough guy. I bully the Jew. And you're like, no, Henry Winkler, you were the bully and now you're getting revenge by acting Italian for a career. And I don't get Andrew Dice Clay. Am I supposed to laugh with him or at him? I don't get. It's like a drag queen. You're at a party with a drag queen. And it's like, oh, I'm a hot mess with like her big eyelashes. And you go, okay, do we talk about capital gains tax yet? Or do I continue with your character? I don't get it.
I don't. Yeah, I'm. That's good to hear because I've never. Everyone's like, "Oh, Andrew Dice Clay, he's such a legend." And I'm like, "Okay, he's just for me. He never."
Hickory dickory dock.
I like watching.
Suck my dick.
I like watching Cumia's impression of him. Like that makes me laugh.
I got enough people I know in Brooklyn and in New York who talk like that all the time. Like we got this guy Joe Tonelli, who is a compulsive liar. He told us that he beat up 6 black dudes when he went to jail. And Arnold Schwarzenegger noticed the fight. So Arnold Schwarzenegger invited him to his dojo where he became a pro fighter. And that came in handy the other day when 2 guys with shotguns came to the bar and he disarmed them, kicked their ass and said, you got 2 choices. I either kick the shit out of you or you get the fuck out of here. And they both ran. Like that's a real life story that some moron told me in a bar. We make fun of him every day. Just yesterday. He told us he got a job at FedEx. We knew he was lying. So we went to the FedEx office where he said he had the job. And we go, what's your boss's name again? Your new boss? Dean. Is there a Dean here? No, there's no Dean here. So then we go back to the bar and we're like, there's no Dean there. What's his last name? And he's like, guys, stop, enough. And then we're like, Dean, stop enough? Is he like a German? Is he Jewish?
Stop enough.
And so I have real moronic Italians in my life. I don't need some fucking nerdy Jewish comedy buff imitating them.
Yeah, I agree. Wow.
That being said, Doug Bell, I thoroughly enjoy. I wouldn't want to be on a Doug Bell show because I don't know how to react to the character. But I love watching Doug Bell because I know people like that, and it's fun to see them lampooned. So maybe I'm contradicting myself, but.
Supposedly, Doug Bell is based off of Opie.
Yeah, you can see some Opie in there for sure. His crazy stories of all the celebrities that. If you have so many celebrity friends, Opie, where are they now that you've got your own show on Instagram?
Yeah, I'm always amazed when there are guys who have amazing connections, or maybe their brother is a famous, wrote for the Chappelle Show or something. That's just an example. I'm always amazed at why these guys that are very funny and they have amazing connections, like haven't been able to get further along. And I like Doug Bell because it's just somebody who's always living in the past, always has like a half story, or in Doug's case, it's like just a piece of a story. And then obviously the crumbs on his mouth are always good. And it makes me really miss Norm Macdonald. Like I'm still so shocked that he's gone. It's such a big loss. And
we have enough content. It's like my wife died. My wife cried when Prince died. And I'm like, his last 30 albums were shit. You still have Purple Rain. You still have Delirious. You still have Controversy. All those jams are still there. You can listen to him on a loop if you want. What, you want more Prince in the Power Generation? We have enough Norm Macdonald to last us for a lifetime. Someone like Lenny Bruce or Bill Hicks, you could listen to him in one afternoon, and we don't have enough of those guys, but Norm did a pretty good job of leaving a digital legacy. I think we got a good 40 hours. So he can go. Bye.
He can go. I just really appreciate that he really didn't give a fuck, and he didn't hold himself back. And I was just listening to this clip, and he was on, it was his show, the Norm Macdonald show, and like Jim Carrey was a guest, and it was this great moment where Jim was like, and Jim was like insufferable on this appearance. Like it made me like Jim Carrey so much less, and he was just
he's the worst guy alive.
Goofy, and I was like, can't you just be yourself? Like you're this brilliant comic, and he's on there, he's acting smarter than he is, and like he's going into his physical comedy, I guess maybe as a, I don't know, defense mechanism or whatever. And he's like, he swatted a mug off the desk and it broke, and then he said to Norm like, oh yeah, I remember when you stopped by the set of Man on the Moon, I saw you there. And Norm was like, yeah, because I was on the movie, like I was in the movie also. And it was like, I was like, yes, it's so refreshing anytime you see somebody not kissing a big celebrity's ass, or any celebrity's ass, really.
He was a punk rocker. I mean, he did all those OJ jokes on Weekend Update. He was told not to. When OJ was declared innocent, it was declared that he's no longer on the table as far as jokes go. And then Norm torpedoes his own career by saying, good news, today we learned that murder is legal in California. He was fired within the hour.
Oh, no.
And he knew he was doing that. He walked into the wood chipper to entertain us because he has balls. That you only see that with like Sid Vicious and Johnny Rotten and, people who are willing to sacrifice it all just to have truth, really. He was a truth teller. I can't believe I'm saying that term.
It was a truth speaker. And I wonder, it's like, is because it was in his nature, or because he just, he got famous and he made his money, so he kind of, maybe he felt uncancelable.
He had big Scottish balls. And people like that, if they hold it in, it eats away at them forever. So in a sense, it wasn't brave, because if he didn't do that, he would have had the next 10 years gnawing away at him. He'd be so mad at himself for pussying out that he had to say that. He can't suffer fools gladly. So
no, he couldn't hold it back. Like every appearance of him on like even the old Conan, like it's great to see like the different Conan set through the years.
But he also loved comedy and wanted it not to be boring. And that was a thing back in the 80s. You'd have these guys who like didn't care if they were in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Johnny Rotten was invited to be there, and he sent them a big letter telling them to go fuck themselves because they were charging him $800 or something.
Wow.
And there was this skateboarder named Neil Blender, and he would make it to the championships, and it was his turn to show off on the half pipe, and he would just go tick-tock, 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 and then walk off and walk away. Totally sabotage his chance at, getting a pro sponsorship and all that kind of stuff. People with balls are rare and few and far between these days. And he was one of the few who held on to that. It wasn't that uncommon in the 80s to see someone go, just fuck this whole thing. It's gay.
There's a whole reel, like there's a of Norm's, just his gay jokes. It's so funny. I was like, we have to bring that back. We have to bring back like saying gay, like how it used to be in like the 90s and like the early 2000s. Like it's funny to call things gay. It's funny to call people gay, like whether they are or not. It's funny to call things and people retarded. Like,
homos. I just said that yesterday. I walked into the bar. It's a funny way to say hello, guys. Or even just walk into your bar and go, I didn't know this was a gay bar.
Yeah.
It's stupid funny, but not to go back in time, but Jim Carrey is the biggest fucking douche. I worked with this kid who was in a movie with him, Lemony Snicket.
Oh yeah.
And he would
do a newer one.
Yeah. He would do 80 takes with a little kid. So it would be 13 hours. And the poor kid was just being tortured, having to say the same thing again and again and again. He would take the lines from the kids. If they had a good line, he would use it in his dialogue, and they'd just be stuck there as a sounding board. At one point, the little kid, that was one of the most overpriced movies of all time. I think it cost, I don't know, $500 million back when they weren't spending that kind of money. They built a cement lake. They had a whole staff of these technicians who were making weird shit all day. Half of it wasn't even used in the movie. So during the downtime, they made him an awesome, the little kid in the movie. They made him an awesome Pee Wee Herman bike that had rockets on the side and stuff, and lights and streamers and so he sees Jim Carrey, and Jim pulls up in his custom BMW, And he goes, Jim, check this out. I got a bicycle. And he goes, oh, yeah? You think that's cool? He goes, yeah, because it is. And he goes, check this out. And he pulls the kid into his car and shows him how the console says Jim Carrey and the console works with his fingerprints and basically shows the kid that his custom BMW that was probably $200,000 is way better than his bicycle.
Oh, my God.
What the fuck? You know that blonde chick who was in White Lotus, the new show on Netflix about the hotel?
No.
She's, I'll dig her up. White Lotus. She's a really good comedic actor. She was in a lot of movies with those improv guys, you know, the Waiting for Guffman guys. Jennifer Coolidge.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Was that Stifler's mom?
Yeah. So she said working with Jim Carrey is like getting raped all day and having to say thank you. He gave that chick herpes. She killed herself after he dumped her. He fucking dated what's her name with the autistic son, where he was screaming.
Jay McCarthy.
Yeah, how dumb do they think we are? As he went on to say that autism is caused by God knows what, fucking electricity. He's a fucking loser. One of the shittiest people in America. And he's from my hometown of Ottawa.
Oh, no. How devastating.
Yeah. I'm sorry about that. Tom Green, what's her name? Alanis Morissette, Jim Carrey, Ren Kowalski, and me.
Wow. Alanis Morissette was my very first concert ever.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. I wish I had kept the concert t-shirt.
Billy Idol was mine, and I'm going to go see him in a few hours.
Right. That's exciting. We got another question for you from one of our super fans, Matthew. Could Gavin create a Vice magazine today? And where are the musicians playing outdoor shows in defiance of government mandates?
No, magazines are done. Print is done. The whole concept is done. And maybe print, like the written word is done.
You mean books, though?
Yeah, we all like books, but do they matter anymore? I mean, would you rather read about John Adams, or would you rather watch the HBO series that shows their little buckle shoes and what kind of bric-a-brac is on the wall in the log cabin and how it was heated? I mean, you kind of get more information from video. This is more interesting than reading a transcription of our interview. It's a heady topic that requires a lot more backup, but I've been thinking about it a lot and how, you know, I used to write articles for Tacky Mag and it would take about 3 days and they'd probably reach 1,000 people. And I don't know if they would have any sort of resonance or sustainability, but when you make a video like 10 things I hate about Americans or love about Americans, it gets like 20 million views and it lasts forever. And it's a lot more dynamic to see the pictures of what you're talking about and everything. So the days of just sitting in a hammock and looking at a magazine are long gone. That's for mostly fat chicks who want to check out celebrities because they hate their lives.
Oh my God.
I would never do a Vice again. But as far as bands that are standing up to this, there's not a lot. I think the only dynamic musical scene these days is the Australian punk scene with bands like Amyl and the Sniffers and the Chats. That's an exciting music scene, but over here we're just cucked. Like, not that Mumford & Sons are an exciting alternative band, but the fact that dude had to leave the band because he doesn't hate Andy No and Jordan Peterson shows you how fucking gray and fascist the music scene has become. I can't tell you how many bands that I'm friends with, like Dream Machine and BBQT and Ty Richards, all of these people that they didn't say they weren't liberal, they just refused to answer the question. They're not pro-Trump per se, but they just said a few mildly controversial things and they've been totally and utterly canceled. So now when you see alternative music in America at a festival, you have to know that every single musician feels the same way as you about everything. And if they don't, they wouldn't tell a living soul. That's not fun.
Yeah, it's not a way to live.
No.
When did this happen? Is it when the corporations kind of merged with the government and everything needed to be kind of, I don't know. When did everything get so soft?
It all started with Trump. Trump showed up and he committed the sin of saying, yeah, all of your little games with like gender and bathrooms and telling me I can't see anchor babies, we're not doing that anymore. We're not playing your game. And that was unforgivable because most of America, at least half anyway, that was their education, was learning all of this stupid white guilt crap and political correctness and all these pronoun terms. And when you take that away and say, not only do I disagree with it, it's meaningless, then you're taking away the left's religion. And they went crazy because they're religious Puritans and they never got over it. So that meant that you and I can't be friends with fucking libs and people are getting disinvited from Thanksgiving, and all because he said, I'm not playing your game. And it's time for bed. It's 8 o'clock. And no, you can't have Fruit Loops right before bed. That's candy cereal. It's bad for your teeth. And they all have daddy issues. So when daddy showed up to impose some discipline, America had a meltdown.
Wow. Yeah, it's true. It's true. I was I was interviewing Sebastian Gorka and I'm reading his book or whatever. And it's funny because I'm like reading his book and I'm like looking at my life and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm 37 years old, not married for my whole life. I was in debt until just a couple years ago. And I was like, whoa, am I like a product of like socialism basically seeping into this country? And I was like, oh shit. Like, I don't know. On one hand, it made me feel a little better, but on the other, it was like kind of sad, you know? And
well, that's the funny thing about this Smash the Patriarchy is no place for women better off than under the patriarchy. We liberated them from the kitchen and allowed them to be colostomy bags for our cum. And now they just they get calls at 4 a.m. Some guy comes over. Like all these writers at Salon and Huffington Post and Daily Beast and even Vice, those women you see writing these terrible articles that are just run-on sentences for 4,000 words, they have no love in their lives. That's why they hate Proud Boys so much, because Proud Boys represent the family and masculinity, and both of those things totally let them down. So they've declared war on men because men don't love them. And it's sad for both sexes, really. We've destroyed love in this quest to liberate women.
I love the Proud Boys. Anytime I see any at a show, I shout them out. I like give them hugs and I say thanks for coming. I don't know. I just think they're great. Like I've met so many that it's like I can't stereotype them. I don't know. I think
I wish I could enjoy them, but all I get is like, hey man, can you talk to Mark? Because you understand what's going on, right, with Arizona and Ohio right now? Because their vice president was talking to Paul over in St. Louis and blah, blah. And I'm just like, dude,
oh,
I don't fucking care about the minutia of the club. I'm not going to go. I got a call once from Proud Boys, I don't know, fucking Kentucky. And they were like, hey, man, at the last meetup, some guy put a rubber ducky up his ass. And he was standing on the bar. I'm like, how'd you get my number? And they go, how are we supposed to be proud of the Western world if we're shoving shit up our ass? And I'm like, what do you want me to do? Fly down there and pull it out?
Yes, that's what they want.
Okay, done. Don't do that again.
So do you feel like you kind of have to be like a dad figure?
Not anymore. It's like being a landlord. If you go and you change your tenant's light bulb, that'll be expected of you forever. If you just let the phone ring off the hook, they change their own light bulb. Don't help people. It doesn't work.
I mean, I think it's important. I think brotherhoods and groups where men can kind of meet and exchange ideas and feel support are really more important now than ever. I mean, it sucks that like certain ones get a bad rap from the mainstream media, but I mean, they still continue on, right? And I think that the guys get a lot out of it.
Yeah, they're still going. Although Westfest was pretty sparsely populated this year, they called it Less Fest.
Less.
But yeah, I think it's really important, especially for MAGA people in liberal cities. You know, these MAGA guys in New York City, where the whole movement started, they can't say how they feel at work. They can't say how they feel sometimes in front of their own fucking spouse, which is a sad turn of events. And then we would have these meetups at the pub, and all of a sudden you could talk about Trump and immigration and taxes and joke around. It's not like it was a big political meeting, but you could just relax knowing you're with like-minded people. And that's become verboten in the American divorce. In the American divorce now, not only can you not think or say what's on your mind, but you can't associate with people who think and say what's on their mind, who think what's on their mind, who say what's on their mind. I mean, it's a strange time we're living in. I don't remember Vietnam, but I would bet it was sort of like that. You were either pro the war or against the war, and no, you couldn't be friends with the opposite side.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. From Stephen Bailey, I don't know if this is an inside joke for you, Gavin. Why are you gay for the bird, which is the bald eagle?
So why are you gay is a meme from that African dude.
Oh.
Was it, why are you gay?
Oh yeah, like why are you running?
And then the bird, which is the bald eagle, is a thing we always talk about because fucking George Floyd's brother is named Felonious.
Ooh.
As in Phil, Phil. But I guess his mother didn't Google Felonious because it comes from felon, you stupid bitch.
Oh, no.
So he's named Felonious, and his lawyer, or George Floyd's lawyer, set him up and said, okay, listen to me. I think he's African. Listen to me closely. This is what I want you to say. Say, why is it that we can have a bird on the endangered species list, but we cannot have a man? No. Let me try again. Hey, why is it the bald eagle is on the endangered list, but the black man is not? Yeah, say that. And they went through it probably 10 times. And then Felonious gets up and he goes, we have a list for the bird, which is the bald eagle. And you just see the lawyer go,
oh, God.
The bird, which is the bald eagle? What the fuck? So anyway, it's become an inside joke that I just explained to your viewers for my hours.
Great. Do you know, I think there's a couple animals. I just went to a zoo in Dallas when I was there. I think there's a couple animals that are quietly not endangered anymore. The panda, and I think the bald eagle is off.
It can go. They can go. Pandas are useless bears. They're not good scavengers. They're not horny enough to stick around. We have to make them watch pornos. Bears are innate survivors. They're vicious, especially brown bears and polar bears. They're not worthy of being called a bear. It's time to go, pandas. And bald eagles, I mean, they look cool on in American folklore, but they're scavengers. I mean, that's why they're bald. They're just turkey vultures. They're nothing special. They don't even make that sound. That's a fake sound we added in post.
What
they
sound?
Like, no, they sound more like this, like, hey. They're morons. So they can, all these, keeping fucking species alive is so gay and retarded. We have more species around now than we ever have before. Let them go, boys. It's like Norm Macdonald. Let him go. He had a good run.
I like that. Like live and let die.
Live and let die. Bye.
All carmines are racist. I don't understand that.
I guess we'll just spend the rest of the show with me explaining our inside jokes to yours.
Oh, yeah, that's fun.
They went to Carmine's recently, BLM, and they were yelling out, Carmine's are racist. Instead of Carmine's is racist, because they're fucking morons. They're thinking apostrophe S means plural. So we joked that every single Carmine is a racist, which actually might be true. I've known a few Carmines, and they're not exactly in the ADL.
Okay, from Nate. As a subscriber to Compound and Censored, I'm thankful for you both. Gav, please say, Nathan, you're a huge, you fill in the blank. I want to screen grab it and save it.
Okay, here we go. You ready? Nathan, you're a huge fag.
Wow.
Make that your alarm in the morning. Here's a better one. Nathan, wake up, you fag. Look at the time. Grow up and start your day. Get up!
I'm going to play that back for myself because I have trouble getting up. Start your day. Be a man. Ask Gavin using this exact phrase. Jesus Christ, mister, are you okay in there?
No, that might be a inside joke that I don't even get.
I'm not inside of that one either. Okay, Gavin, why are subcultures so inclined to leftism these days?
Well, because subculture is innately young. You're not going to have a dad who wants to be part of the mod scene or the mall goth scene or the emo scene. In fact, subculture is used to peacock, to pick up the opposite sex. You want to draw more attention to yourself. So you dye your hair and you get a leather jacket and you say, look at me. And young people are left-wing because young people are naturally agreeable, like women, and they're also not very deep. They're not capable of counterintuitive thinking. So when they hear welfare helps the poor, they take that at face value and they think, yeah, what kind of jerk wouldn't want some poor old black lady to be able to eat? You want to starve her to death? Fuck you. Then you get older and you see that the Dominicans are using food stamps to fill up bodegas in DR. They send big blue tubs from the grocery store back to Dominican Republic. They don't even touch the food themselves, and it's all a big scam, and welfare shatters the family. But that takes a level of sophistication. Like Churchill said, if you're not liberal when you're young, you have no heart, and if you're liberal when you're old, you have no brain.
Oh, yeah, I was reading a story about, like, I guess this is a common practice, like, guys will buy soda with their food stamps and then, like, sell it outside and then take that money and then go buy drugs. I'm like, oh, that's pretty clever.
Yeah, you can buy drugs with the EBT stamps and stuff. You can buy drugs with welfare. It's a terrible markup. So, like, $50 of EBT gets you, like, $10 of drugs.
Wow, damn.
It's not the whole concept. In the old days, it was like flour and cheese and milk, and you could, make something. Now it's like a completely fried chicken and some ice cream and a Nestle Quick. No, that's not the way it should be. It's for emergencies. Now it's a lifestyle. Fucking New York projects, they're overlooking the East Village. They're overlooking the East River like some sort of aristocrat. And it's
a nice view.
Third, fourth generation Puerto Rican in there. Like their grandfather never had a fucking job, assuming they know who he is. It's embarrassing. Puerto Ricans in New York should be ashamed of themselves. Their culture is embarrassing.
I just can't understand. Like, I was on unemployment for a while, like in between jobs years ago. I couldn't handle, I don't know. Yeah, I guess it was like my pride. I was like, okay, how long am I going to live like this?
Well, if you were born into an apartment where it's paid for by the state and you've never seen anyone with a job, that just becomes your lifestyle. You just walk out of the house with your bonnet and your pajamas on. You go to the bodega, you get a grape cigar and a Slurpee and maybe some chicken with ketchup, salt, and pepper. And then you go back and you continue binge watching your fucking show, you loser.
Yeah. From Dinosaur Success. Hi, Gavin. Destiny the Lefty Gamer says he would be happy to debate you on pretty much any topic.
Destiny the Left Gamer. What kind of name is that?
Yeah, it's a bad name.
Some of these fucking these, like, what is this? A guy who plays video games for a living? Now he's a political expert? Like, I'm looking him up here. It's embarrassing. This person's below me. I'm 51 years old. I've been doing this since the early 90s, and I'm going to debate some fucking millennial because he plays video games all day?
That sounds like a no.
You're a fucking loser, dude. You play video games all day. That's embarrassing. And you're 32 years old. Do you have a wife and kids? No, he doesn't.
Wow.
He's Cuban American. And his son lives in Nebraska. Bonnell is of Cuban American descent on his mother's side, and his son lives in Nebraska. So he's got a failed marriage. He lives in Huntington Beach. He's bisexual in an open relationship with a Swedish streamer. What an absolute piece of shit. And I love how these guys want to get on and debate and talk about what's best for society, and their own lives are abysmal failures, where they've abandoned their son in another state entirely. So your son has no father, and you still are obsessed with playing video games and literally sucking dicks. Go fuck yourself, fag.
That's a no. It's a no. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's the distractions are easier to fall into than to take a hard look. I mean, even myself, right? It's easy to distract yourself than it is to be like, okay, what can I get together?
I think whoever knows who Destiny is should be embarrassed. The guy who just said he'd be happy to debate you, you should be embarrassed that guy's on your radar, in your wheelhouse. That's unacceptable. Grow the fuck up. Video games. I'm a monster. I'm fighting bad guys in outer space. Good. You know, Spider-Man was invented for 8-year-olds who were bullied so they could have a fantasy world where they beat up the bad guy. And nobody knows that I'm not some nerdy Peter Parker. I'm actually a badass that could kill all of you. And then, that's probably a healthy fantasy to have for a couple years. But then get into the gym, learn to box, get some fucking balls. It's not for people over the age of 10.
Yeah.
And you're 32 playing Spider-Man or any other ridiculous video game. You're not living. You're an infant.
We feel the same way about guys who play video games. I love it. Okay, this is actually a super chat you're going to like, Gavin. This is from David Carpenter. Gavin, as a fan of the late Red Eye, do you still have any contact with Greg Gutfeld or Andy Levy? You were consistently hilarious on that show.
Never liked Andy Levy.
Oops. Levy.
He doesn't drink. But no, I X'd Greg because he didn't hire me when he went solo. And I couldn't forgive him for that. He hired Tyrus, the grape ape, because Tyrus is black. I don't even think Tyrus is black, by the way. There's no evidence. His hair looks like mine. I think he's just a white dude who has somewhat black features, so we decided to run with that. No one's ever seen his black dad. He's conveniently out of the picture. But people go, like Tyrus himself said, you're just a hater. You're just jealous. And I'm like, yes. That's precisely what happened. I hate you, and I'm jealous that you got a gig. I worked at Fox News for 8 fucking years. And the way Greg got his job is he was working at Blender, some stupid Vice ripoff Lad Mag, and Andrew Breitbart went to Fox and said, take a chance on this guy. You won't regret it. And they did, and they don't regret it. He's got higher ratings than any other talk show, late night talk show. So he was willing to benefit from someone taking a risk, but he wouldn't take a risk on me. So fuck you, Greg, and fuck you, Tyrus.
Okay, here we go. Hey, Gavin, what do you think of the possibility of the red states eventually splitting from blue states? The old divorce.
Yeah, it's going to be an existential divorce. There's never going to be any maps. We lost 5 million people in the Civil War. If you looked at 620,000 people with today's population, it would be 5 million people. So we had an American Holocaust to maintain the Union. We're never going through that ever again. But what we're going to do is just agree to disagree. And we already do that in America racially. There's the South Bronx is black and Puerto Rican and Dominican. The North Bronx is Irish, retired cops. New Rochelle is black. Larchmont is white. Scarsdale is Jewish, Bronxville is Protestant, the list goes on. So we've already segregated by race and class and religion, and that's just going to become more and more polarized. But what's going to be disturbing is the politicians will be running solely on their ethnic identity. So white people will vote for white politicians, Jewish people will vote for Jews, not just Hispanics, but like Mexicans will vote for the Mexican guy, Puerto Ricans will vote for the Puerto Rican guy. Cubans will vote for the Cuban guy. Policy won't come up. It'll all be identity. So as far as where we live, that's just going to be an unwritten thing where the real estate agent will be like, you don't want to live here. I don't think you'd have a good time. But as far as politics go, it's going to be so bizarre because you'll have ostensibly separated in that sense. Like you'll have a Mexican alderman who runs a Mexican county where the town hall is in Spanish, and they changed some of the drunk driving laws because the illegals don't like DUIs, and that'll be a little Mexico. So it won't be written down on paper, but our behavior will reflect not just a divorce of black, white, or right, left. It's going to be all kinds of balkanization. And maybe that's for the best, Like Mao said, let 1,000 flowers bloom.
Wow. I like that. Gavin, you rock. One of the original censored political players. You were years ahead of the dystopian nightmare Ministry of Truth that we have today.
Yep.
Thanks, Lucius. Okay.
What a shitty name, Lucius.
Lucius. It sounds wet.
It sounds luscious.
Yeah.
It sounds like Winston. What's that guy? Lucian Wintrich. That guy was really into photographing twinks.
Oh, yeah. K-Max is wondering what happened with you at Glenn Beck and the Blaze. I thought you were going to work there. I didn't know about that. don't know if that was a.
It's a pretty big deal, Chrissy. How do you not know that?
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Maybe you're not cut out for this.
Maybe.
Like you don't know the basics about your next guest.
I didn't know you were gonna work for the Blaze. No.
I was at CRTV. They merged with the Blaze. I was fired the next day, and Glenn Beck tried to keep me, but the owner. So that's the story I like. Like, we merged with the Blaze. Glenn Beck couldn't handle it. He fired me, and I'm too hot for the mainstream. That's the main version everyone got. Glenn probably could have fought more, but the truth of the matter is, here's what I think actually happened. So I was getting bombarded by the swarm of bees that follow me, the Antifa bees, and they were attacking everyone I worked with and showing them videos of me saying the N-word in a montage, among other things.
Oh, I remember that.
And I think a stupid bitch named Janine Borelli, affirmative action hire, who is terrible at her job, and I think her white husband writes all our scripts. So she saw it and didn't have the fortitude or the intelligence, really, to call me and say, what's going on here? You say the N-word all the time? And if she had done that, I could explain the context. I'd never use that word like, get these terms, just like, most of Earth. But obviously a montage doesn't reflect that. So I think she threatened to sue CRTV, and Casey Katz had PTSD from being sued by Mark Stein, where Mark Stein won a $10 million settlement and dragged everyone into court. That's a whole other funny story. So Mark Stein's a genius, right? And Casey Katz he made his money with student loans because you can't go wrong because the government guarantees them. So he became a billionaire, I believe, with student loans. He spies Mark Stein and says, dude, you're brilliant on Tucker. I want you to do a show. And Mark Stein says, okay, I want this, and this. He negotiates a crazy deal. Casey has so much. I hope it is Casey Katz. It's not Carrie Katz. Casey Katz, CRTV. What's his name? So Carrie Katz. So Carrie has so much money. He goes, sky's the limit. Whatever you want. So Mark Stein then kind of goes nuts. And he says, all right, this is what I want. I want a piano bar, one giant set in New England where I am, where no one's in New England. How are you going to get guests? Oh, fly them out first class to see me. Okay. So he has a piano bar. He has an Ellen DeGeneres size set. And then he has like a stand-up comedy stage. So it's nicer than any club you've done stand-up in your life. Like it's a stunning, it's better than Oprah's set. It's 3 beautiful sets, all as one with these plexiglass stairs that go off into heaven. And then he proceeds to do like these jazz songs and invite his favorite characters from The Sopranos over to talk for like 2 hours about acting. And he makes these music videos. You got to look up Mark Stein. I thought I saw a putty tat. Walking in on me. Oh, he does these brutal jazz songs about cats. It's almost like he has multiple personalities. Yeah. So there's the genius Mark Stein. He's one of my favorite writers. His books blow my mind. I don't even read his books when I'm tired because I'm going to miss too much. You need like a big breakfast, nothing to do that day, and then you can only read him for like an hour and a half because it's like Mark Levin. It's just so fucking dense. Such quality. So there's that.
What you're talking about?
And then there's this fucking loser who loves his cats. What is going on? It gets worse. And this is every breath you take.
Uh-huh.
I thought I saw a pussycat.
Oh, God.
Up on
what?
Me.
What?
This is horrible.
I thought I saw a pussycat. 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 I thought I saw a pussycat.
Does it get better?
I thought I saw
on me. Inclined to think that he would get.
Okay, no, this doesn't get better.
No, there's a giant pussycat. And he's got that weird British accent where they say store and Parker and vinegar.
I thought I saw a pussy.
Oh, God. It's bad. It's real bad.
So there's two Mark Steins, right? There's Mark Stein, the genius. We'll call him Mark Stein. And then there's Mark Stein, the retard. We'll call him Marky Stein. And Casey Katz spent tens of millions of dollars on Mark Stein, and Marky Stein showed up. Where did he go to school? Where did he get that accent? He's Canadian originally, but I guess he grew up in British private schools. Anyway, so Casey Katz goes, I can't show this. This isn't, I thought you were going to be doing a news show. He just sent garbage. So he goes, I'm going to have to fire you. This is crap. So then Mark sues him. This is a very long version of events. So now he's petrified of being sued. So I believe, this is just my theory, but I believe Casey was petrified of Deneen suing him for her putting her near a racist or something. Deneen wasn't budging, so they fired me as a sacrifice to the racism gods. And then, of course, Deneen was fired a few months later for incompetence. And that's what, and then the merging with Blaze, with Glenn Beck, that was all just a coincidence. That's not part of the story. So it's funny how the perception and the reality are always so distant in this day and age, especially when someone wants a fun soundbite. And the soundbite version was good for me, so I was like, whatever, fuck you. You got a PR nightmare to deal with, dumbasses.
Yeah. What are your feelings on the Canadian election?
Well, Canada has bought their media. It's called the CBC, Canadian Broadcast Media, exactly like Britain. Canada is just Britain. It's the same culture, really. The BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation. So when you talk to your average Canadian, sometimes even in rural neighborhoods, they're fucking brainwashed. It's really sad that a loser bitch like Justin Trudeau, who's just a hunk, he's a himbo, and he was elected because he's a gorgeous babe. My brother went camping with him. My brother knows his stepbrother. The guy once, when they were camping, didn't want to start a fire because he was worried about the carbon footprint. Like they call him the Zoolander prime minister for a reason. Just like yesterday, he was trying to remember what LGBTQ is or how it's said, and this is his stupid culture, and he can't even remember it. The guy who said that our biggest challenge moving forward is getting the correct names for things. That's Justin Trudeau. But anyway, to see a loser like that win means that you have a lot of women involved in the election, voting and stuff. But you also have this brainwashed populace where Trudeau himself, even after spending billions on the CBC, he said, I'm going to give you another $700 million to rescue print media. That's a lie. It was a bribe. There's so few people in Canada. It's about the 10th of the American population. There's like 60,000 people in media. So when you distribute 700 million to 60,000 people, I forget the exact number, but it's like 30 grand a person. So it was a bribe to treat him nice. And then Rebel News comes along and tries to ask a critical question, and he literally just refuses to answer. He says, I don't answer questions from Rebel Media. So propaganda is really effective. It works. I would recommend, if you're a dictator, to take over the media first. It's a good trajectory for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's working here too. Jesus. Okay, this is from Lucius back. He's back with another. I agree with the Democrats. The vaccine passports means I don't have to see as many black people where I'm going about my day. How wonderful. What is the best way to end this madness?
I mean, just say no.
Just no.
Lenore Skenazy has this book, Free Range Kids, where she goes, it's illegal for me to let my 8-year-old play in a park by himself. That's bullshit. I was playing in a park by myself when I was 5. So let's just do it. They can't arrest us all. So start saying, no, I'm not wearing a mask. Start saying, I don't have a vaccine. I'm sitting down here. Don't beat the shit out of the hostess like we did at Carmine's a Racist. But every little piece of rebellion helps. Although I will say, I'm sick of these fucking restaurants getting shat on for following the rules. It's all these millennials who have never had so much as a lemonade stand saying, fuck these restaurants for enforcing this bullshit. We have to stand up to tyranny. Okay, we also have to pay our bills. So they always say, like, a man should fight just enough to, maintain his marriage, stay out of jail, and keep his job. A lot of us have lost our jobs. That's the sort of the line, right? Most people who are criticizing the rest of us haven't got close to any of those three things. They don't even have a wife to lose. So until you have some stakes, stop criticizing other people. But as far as an individual basis, yeah. Like Ryan Rivera, my little sidekick there. We were going to the city the other day, and he was wearing a mask that was mesh transparent, like ladies' lingerie.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those.
That pissed off the conductor, but all those little things help.
Oh yeah, like I had one in Vegas. I was like drinking through mine, like at the blackjack table, and like nobody said anything because it's the same ones a lot of the dealers wear.
You said wear a mask. I'm wearing a mask.
Yeah. You mentioned this before with not being so involved with the boys anymore, but how do you manage to stay out of too much trouble while you have so many people after you?
I don't. I mean, I get accosted all the time. And I it's my personality too. Like I will not let you exit the plane earlier than your row. So everyone in 16 is getting out before anyone in 17. So I have constant confrontations on plane. In fact, I started a group called the Butt Boys, where we stop people from butting in line. It's an unfortunate name. I wish that butting in line was called like tigering in line, and we could be the Tiger Boys. But we're the Butt Boys, and we prevent butters, not just on planes, but everywhere. It's like a Larry David personality. Larry David meets Braveheart. So even besides being me, I still have to deal with confrontations because I want justice. But yeah, it's not that bad. Look, few people want to actually physically fight. So if you're a public figure like me, my new thing is I say to people, if you want to fight, we can fight. If you want to debate, we can debate. Otherwise, fuck off. I don't care what you think. Like people will come up to me in a bar or a restaurant and say, you're not wanted here. And I'm like, what? Why would I give a fuck?
Patrons like other?
Yes, all the time.
Ugh.
And it's like, you don't work here. Shut the fuck up. Or people will come up to me in my neighborhood and go, we hate that you live here. Why would I give a shit? It's sort of like the CEO of Fred Perry Canada said he hates Proud Boys, and the left thinks that's some sort of feather in their cap. Like, I care if the Mets like me or not, or if Hanes likes me, or if Ray-Bans likes me. Why would you give a shit if an employee at your clothing store, your clothing manufacturer likes you or not? It's a weird social media generation thing to want to be loved. I want to be loved by my family and friends, but otherwise, I obviously don't give a fuck what strangers think.
Yeah, and I think the degree to which you cannot give a fuck what other people think about you, it gives you more power. Whereas if you can't, if everything in your life is to get likes and get approval, it's like, well, you're giving away a lot of your power.
Yeah, and the thing is too, the people doing the critiquing are never worthy of you. It's like the less accomplishments someone has, the more they trivialize other accomplishments. Like when you get told your comedy sucks, it's not a female comedian who's been doing it exactly as long as you, who understands your kind of humor. That demographic probably doesn't even talk about your humor because they're like, she's finding her way. If they think they're better than you, they probably go, she's finding her way, she'll catch up. And if they think they're worse than you, they obviously look up to you. But no one who criticizes your stand-up comedy is an accomplished stand-up comedian who you care about. Like if Tucker Carlson said my show sucked, I'd go, why? What should I do differently? Or even Cumia. If he's like, your show's boring, dude. I'd go, fuck.
Yeah.
When does it get boring? When do you zone out? What should I do? More sketches? But Anthony doesn't say that because he's busy with his own show. And so a big part of getting over what people think is understanding that you're hearing from losers.
Yeah, the boos come from the cheap seats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing some drilling next door, by the way.
Oh, okay.
It's not me.
I thought I'd left my vibrator on or something. I missed a super chat from 1920s Buffalo. Gavin, how much would us baby monsters have to raise for you to shave your head and pierce your right ear with a loop earring? Uh-oh. I don't know if that's going to happen.
I did that for a movie once. I shaved my whole beard because I had to play myself as a teen. And then Vice got it shelved. And it's just sitting somewhere at 20th Century Fox on a shelf. Amanda Millia says she's going to be able to breathe it life, but I don't know. Vice said they'll sue if it ever gets out. I think it's because I had a 300-pound person play Shane Smith, and he's not happy about it. But I don't know. I guess, see, you always say no to those kind of things if you have enough money, but then you think about charity. Like, I would maybe touch a bum's dick for like $1 million if the money went to some sort of entrepreneurs fund or to Max and John in prison or John's family. So I guess I would shave my head and my beard entirely. Then I could never go on the lam, though, because people would recognize me. Maybe I'd do it for $250,000.
Okay. Wait, so you're more recognizable without your beard? I thought you would be.
No. If I ever go on the lam, I can just shave everything and I'll be invisible Gav.
Yeah.
But if I give that away, then I don't have a disguise.
True. From 1920s Buffalo Guy. For Gavin and Chrissy, please have Jim Goad on your shows. For the love of Goad, the sharpest and most brutally honest social critic of our times. Wow, that's high praise.
He's also the greatest writer of our time. I cannot recommend enough Redneck Manifesto. It really is. It should be required reading in schools. It would be in a sane world. But he talks about so much shit that no one goes near, like white slavery, the Irish slaves that were brought over. And they were not just indentured servants. That's a lie. That is being completely cut out of history. In fact, the New York Times had an article called The Myth of White Slavery. It's the origin of the word spirits with booze, spirited away. They would steal bums off the street. It's the origin of the word kidnapping. It was common practice to steal disenfranchised people from Britain and throw them on fucking ships. But they don't exist. And the only reason they didn't pick cotton, they did. They would die in the heat. They were literally white trash. They would pile up these garbage slaves. Black slaves used to make white slave jokes because they were so useless in the fields. And Jim Goad documents all of that in the Redneck Manifesto. Money back guarantee. You will love it.
Okay. All right. I'm going to get that then. Right. Oh, but you can't talk about that because whites are never victims and everybody else is.
Yeah. Did you see? I was just researching this actually, and that they talk about missing white girl syndrome.
Oh, yeah. Who? Joy Reid said that? Was that her?
Yeah. And she's like, why doesn't the media ever cover missing blacks? I don't know, bitch. You're the media.
Yeah.
Go cover it.
Put a note in somewhere.
But, I was looking up things like the Long Island Railroad Massacre, where this racist Jamaican guy killed 5 whites and 1 Asian just because he hated white people. There was Shannon Christian and Christopher Newsom who were gang raped by a group of blacks, and they raped them to death. They poured bleach down her throat, lit her body on fire, executed him on a railroad. There was that Somali cop who shot Justine Damon. No one talks about that. It was our George Floyd. A black cop shot a white woman for no reason. No riots, no nothing. And he's getting released because they say the trial wasn't fair. Missy McLaughlin, she was gang raped by guys who said they were going to kill a white woman that day. So you talk about missing white woman syndrome. How about murdered white people syndrome?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of white media doesn't go near it. Not just because they're scared of fomenting racial strife, but they literally can't stomach these murders because they're so sadistic. They don't want to lose viewers who are watching the news at dinner time.
Yeah, that's a really good point, too. You said about, like, why can't a person who works in media, highlight it? Like, you could use your whole Twitter account just for retweeting missing people.
Yeah.
I think they just wanted a break from all the COVID stuff and the vaccine stuff.
Well, it's also an unusual thing. Like all these Native American women who are lost, they're in abusive relationships. They're addicted to drugs. They escaped their stalker, violent ex, and they don't want to be on the books. They don't want to be seen. With a lot of the black girls, they're like 20. They get into prostitution. They're not some innocent girl who was picked up in the middle of the night. That does happen in South Central, but it's Mexican gangs. So the media doesn't want to go near that. Mm-hmm. But this was an unusual, very public couple. They had a vlog. They were internet famous. And they were talking about how wonderful their life's going to be. And then one day, he shows up back at the house without her.
Yeah,
that's fucking weird.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they were this perfect Instagram couple. They had each one. It's not like one of them was hiding the other from their social media. There was tons of video and photos of them together. And I thought it's interesting, like the other kind of, I don't understand why somebody would like just live in a van for their whole life if they could choose differently. But these other van lifer people had come across their van and seen them, and I don't know.
Yeah, it's a genre. There's plenty of people who do it and document it, and those guys did it, and I've never heard of this before. Have you? Where a couple goes on a fun vacation, documents every day, and then he shows up at home? It's not because she was fucking white.
Oh, she had to stay to go. She was going shopping. She took too long in the store.
What do you think happened with them? What's your best guess?
I think that, yeah, I mean, they were definitely fighting. She was definitely in tears, which means like it's a lot of fighting. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he pushed her off a cliff, or like she tripped and fell off a cliff and he was just like, oh, that's real messy. I'm gonna go. Like, I think something happened. He got scared and like left instead of like, I'm gonna stay. And
I think they forgot to pack enough water. They were at the top of a hot mountain and they got into a fight. They were dehydrated. They were being irrational. She said, fuck you. This is over. We're done. It's over. And he said, good, I'm glad. And he goes, I can't wait to meet someone else, someone who's not a fucking headache like you. And she goes, I knew you were cheating on me. What? I'm not cheating. And then she started scratching him and he goes, get the fuck off of me. And he shoved her off the cliff. And then he ran home. Maybe they were doing a lot of Adderall too, a lot of speed, because he was able to drive all the way home. I think he did it in one stint too.
Damn.
So he shoved her, didn't even look to see what happened to her. And then he drove home high on Adderall. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
That sounds pretty good. Yeah. Adderall makes you thirsty for sure. Okay, this is a very good question from K-Max. Is the social stigma what keeps so many celebrities with right-wing views quiet? I think Gavin said in New York you get shunned if you support Trump.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I get letters to my show, almost all of them say, don't say my name on air.
Wow.
So what's going to happen to you? You're going to get fired because you wrote a letter into my show? I mean, you can't say censor.tv in private DMs. So
yeah, I put it in the description for Facebook. It wouldn't let me stream to Facebook, so I had to like take it out and not.
Yeah, you got to write the word dot at best. That might not even work anymore. But yeah, it's crazy times we're living in. And the fact that it affects families is just pathetic. That's so fucking sad that you would let that creep into your family life.
Yeah. No, I think he was talking about why people with right-wing views stay quiet. Well, yeah, it's fear of losing a job, losing relationships.
You lose everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a real testament to American culture that I can be this canceled and still make money and have a successful website. I mean, they tried to hack it. We got our payment processor closed down. We got the name sued away from us, a million different things. But one great thing about America is if you just keep plugging away like a woodchuck, you will chuck wood.
Yes, and you've been chucking quite a lot of wood. It's very impressive.
Yeah, you just got to keep giving her.
Okay, does Gavin ever watch Amazing Polly, a Canadian researcher on BitChute? Oh, I've never heard of her.
Amazing Polly sounds familiar. Is that one of these people who doesn't use their face?
I don't know.
Oh, I remember her. Yeah, she's great. Yeah, she talks about life. She's a fellow Anglo-Quebecer like me. And she talks about what life was like in the 70s to be English in Quebec. And it was crazy. It was, talk about a second-class citizen. I mean, it was illegal to have English on your sign. It was chaussures de Joe. If you had Joe's shoes, you would get a fine. And you couldn't send your kids to English school. They all had to go to French school. Which is forcing your kids to think in another language, which is thought control. But yeah, no one knows about that. She's one of the few people who talked about it. The FLQ bombed buildings. The Front de Libération de Québec, the Quebec separatists, they bombed buildings. They killed English people. It was fucking chaos.
Jesus. Okay, from John Sokachi. I loved CRTV and the Rebel Blaze TV. I couldn't care any less. Guys like Glenn Beck have always been boring. He's a typical political commentary zero. Shots fired from John.
Yeah, but Glenn Beck is fighting the good fight, man. Like the amount of money he raises is stunning. Tens of millions of dollars every time he comes up with a cause.
Yeah.
I like the guy personally.
I do. And I don't know. I don't mind Blaze. They have my stupid ass on there. Is G-Dog's plan to move to Asheville area or closer to Man Crush Ant in Greenville?
I'm moving closer to my man crush these days. I mean, that's my favorite thing to do as a lamprey is just sort of attached to the shark that's doing the most. Like when I was trying to find healthcare for a freelancer, I could have researched it for days, or I could just ask Ann Coulter, who spent like a month busting her ass finding the best option. And Anthony spent months and months researching this. I mean, I did too. I put it out to my viewers, and they all were around the Greenville area as far as the number of suggestions. So let's just do that.
Yeah. Sweet. Gavin, please make a show with Tariq Nasheed and Jared Taylor on Censored. What an incredible show that would be.
Shut the fuck up. I'm so sick of these people. Yeah. You know, it'd be cool if the Stones had me as their new drummer. Let me get on their next tour. You should get Tucker Carlson on your show. You should, like, what are these people? You go get Tariq Nasheed on a fucking show.
Yeah.
I hate when these people come up with suggestions of awesome things that, of course, I would have tried if it was remotely fucking possible. You just sit on your ass all day and come up with things that you think would be cool to look at. Hey, Gavin, fly a plane through the sky and spell Trump won in the smoke behind it. Okay.
So this weekend, Jacked Murphy is doing a Jacked brunch for his Liminal Order. I don't know if you're familiar with his group. It's kind of like a brotherhood that he sort of presides over. Would you ever want to do something like that? Just,
a meet and greet?
Yeah, I guess a meet and greet or maybe to share ideas. Would you ever do that with the boys?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the fucking selfies are so relentless. It's even when I was at your censored thing. Hey man, can I bother? Can I just get a picture? And then they don't know how to work their phone, or they give their phone to their wife or their girlfriend. She doesn't know how to work it. It's not her phone. And it takes like a minute, but then there's 100 of them. So it's 100 minutes. And people go, why do you hate these things so much? Because I just lost 100 minutes. My friends are gone. The Proud Boys left. They went to another bar. They were not going to sit around. So I think the only way to do one of those would be to maybe have a selfies section where you're like, let's get this all out of the way. Your stupid fucking pictures of you and a stranger that you don't know. What are you doing with this picture? Putting it on your chest of drawers? Here's me and Gavin. We hung out all the time. No, you didn't. I met you for 1 second. It's like fucking, they're like Papua New Guinean tribesmen that think if you get a picture of someone, you have their soul. Why do you want to?
Maybe they're just big fans, Gavin.
Yeah, it's stupid and gay and boring and ridiculous. What do you do with that stupid selfie? Fuck off. I'm getting mad just talking about it.
Oh, no. Okay, don't be mad.
So anyway, that's why I don't have those kind of things, because they get ruined by selfies.
What if there was a no selfie rule?
Yeah, I guess. But then you feel like a dick because that's the only reason they're there. So on their Facebook, they can pretend you're friends? I don't even get it.
You're just so cool, Gavin. Yeah, people want to be like, yeah, we hung out.
But you didn't. We didn't. I understand if we went camping for a weekend and like, hey, look at the fish we caught. Yay. That makes sense. But the fact that we were together for 1 second, yeah. I mean, you're living in New York City. Of course, you're going to bump into a lot of people.
I don't mind selfies. Although I had some adult film stars on my show on What Spot the other day on Monday, and like people were recognizing them like right outside the studio, and like it was Elsa Jean, and like Elsa, and I feel like protective over her because she's like 80 pounds and she's like this little blonde thing. I just don't want somebody to like put a bag over her head and like throw her into a van.
She'd probably like it.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Okay, we'll do one more from B Fuchs. Great work, Chrissy. Hooroo! Gavin, can you talk a little about the shelved shelved Netflix doc. 1 million in the morning.
Shelved? You can't read the word shelved?
It's spelled shelved. Isn't there?
How does he spell it?
SHELFED. Shelved.
Shelved? What a moron.
Also,
I can't tell you how many terrible letters I get with unbelievable grammar, including the number and then the $sign after the number. Shelved. How do you not know the past tense of to shelf something?
Shelved. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude. Learn to spell. Can you talk about the shelf? I just did talk about it. Oh, 1 million in the morning. I don't know. Look it up. The difference between 1 million in the morning is we had that for sale on DVD. It had a life. Same with like How to Be a Man. That had a life. But I don't know if 1 million in the morning is available. We pretended we stayed up for 5 days making that documentary. We really just got wasted because we were bored. So what you're seeing is not sleep exhaustion, it's inebriation. And Netflix didn't want to tie their brand to that. I'm holding a Netflix mic the whole movie. It's a documentary we did about the movie watching World Championships, just to keep you up to date. So yeah, I don't know. That movie was fun to do. We partied our asses off. I started that ad agency with that same crew, and Netflix didn't want it.
They're lost, buddy. This was interesting because I did see Cumia's show. Cumia had an FBI buddy on his show. The white girl was beating the guy, and the cops didn't arrest her right before death. Reminds me of the vlogger who wipes his mascara when crying. Yeah, that was interesting. Cumia.
It wasn't right before death. That could have been weeks before death.
I think it was a couple weeks.
Yeah, this guy's making it sound like it happened an hour ago. This is the problem with people who watch our shit, sending us all their facts. Don't ever go by that. The free research is usually worth about what you pay for it. And they have a million mistakes. And then you email them back, you go, it wasn't right before. He goes, oh, I don't know, I thought it was. Well, I'm not going to say that on my show. But yeah, they had a bunch of fucking dumb fights, as one does when they're traveling in a tiny box across America. I don't think that fight was that relevant, though. I mean, everyone has fights, especially at that age.
But he had claw marks on his face. Like he definitely had scratches on his face.
Yeah, it's called dating a chick.
I've never scratched anybody's face up.
Well, you're the freak exception then. I had my wife, when we were dating, I would just let her punch me 12 times and then I would punch her back once. So as she was pounding me, I'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Bang! 1, 2, 3, 4. That's, I think, pretty fair.
Man, I haven't hit enough people.
Have you never physically attacked your boyfriend under any circumstances?
No. Yeah, I guess that's weird. I would want to do that because that doesn't solve anything.
No, it's not rational. But what female behavior is?
True. No, I don't do that. Like, I don't know. What do I do that's crazy?
Cry because you had a dream that he cheated on you?
Yes, yeah, that I've done. And then I wake up, I'm like in it, and I'm like really upset. I'm like, it was really lifelike. And then I do be shopping. I do that too.
You like to shop?
I do like to shop, but like less. I mean, I'll shop less, but when I do, it's pretty wild. I'll spend more. Okay, cool. Gavin, how are you feeling?
Pretty good. I gotta go do Anthony's show.
Yes, go do Anthony's show. Everybody needs to check out Censored TV. A lot of really wonderful shows on that network. I think you can just join for $100 a year. It's a freaking steal.
Yep. I've been listening to it in the car a lot. It's great to have a show that you just sort of chip away at every time you drive. And I wasn't listening to as many shows as I should, but Jacob Wall, Jim Goge, Josh LaCash, I'm catching up on them all. And there's a lot more than you can hear in one day, and it's all great stuff. Great way to hear the news.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff. And check out Gavin's show, Get Off My Lawn. Anything else I forgot, Gavin?
No.
Okay. You're a delight. Thank you so much for coming on and being my 300th episode.
Congratulations. Wow. Congratulations. That's an accomplishment. 300 episodes is a lot.
It feels like a lot, but I'm on a roll, and YouTube letting me do episodes with you, so it's all good.
See how long that lasts.
I'm a bad girl. All right, thanks, Gavin. Thanks, chat. Thanks for the super chats.
Thanks. See you later.
Spell everybody. Bye, guys.